Hotep. The objective of this course is for the student to be able to read the sacred script of our ancient ancestors. Reading Egyptian writing. We must read this text from right to left into the face of the bird. This is the symbol for to find or to look for. It is represented as a black ibis bird. Here we see an owl, which is translated as towards, to, or for, and below that, a basket with a handle, which is translated as you. These three symbols, a heart and windpipe, a horned viper, and a mouth, are read as a unit, Nefer. It represents the idea of beauty, beautiful, or good. Therefore, our goal is to find the beauty. And we do this by studying and reading the words of our ancient ancestors. Lesson 1. The first image that we are going to study is this image that can be seen on the wall at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The actual image is about 6 feet high and 4 feet wide. The Egyptian writing system can be found on walls and papyri in this form as early as 3200 BCE, before the Common Era, or roughly 5,400 years ago. This scene contains many of the sacred symbols that we will study. Each of these symbols are designed to communicate a message to the reader. This image represents King Amenophis, that's his Greek name, and Queen Mother Mut-Em-Uri. Let's try that again, Mut-Em-Uia. This ruler reigned during the 18th dynasty, which went from 1555 to 1340 before the Common Era. That was a 215-year reign. We can begin our study by first reading the names, which are written in the 3 cartouches. The cartouche, or Shenu, cartouche is a French word, contains the names of King Amenophis and Queen Mother Mut-Em-Uia. A Shenu can be written vertically or horizontally. This is a clearer example of what the actual Shenu would look like. This is a Shenu as African scribes carved it in the walls. It is partially damaged. The 2 symbols visible inside the Shenu are the horned viper and the quail chick. For the horned viper, we use the letter F to represent its sound, and for the quail chick, we use the W or U for that sound. So studying the Shenu in this image, we can see the following. The African vulture with royal flail. The African vulture is identified as Mut. The small black semicircle is a loaf of bread. It has the sound quality of a T. It appears often. The top symbol is unclassified, but it is transliterated with the letters IM, pronounced M. The bottom symbol is the sacred solar bark, which is transliterated WIA and pronounced Uia. The solar bark, represented on the right, was found intact, buried next to King Khufu's pyramid. It was in puzzle pieces, so to speak, and put together by archaeologists. Inside the Shenu, we can now read the name of the Queen Mother as Mut Mwia. That would be a fair reading, I believe, of the name. The next two Shenu represent the names of the Nesudbiti. Nesudbiti has been translated to king. The Shenu on the right contains the Sara name of the Nasudbiti, followed by his Nasudbiti name. At the top of the Shenu, we see the solar disk, which is a sacred symbol of Necha Ra, represented as the sun. The center figure is that of Necheret, the goddess of truth, Ma'at. She holds the key of life, the Ankh, and she has the ostrich plume feather in her headband. At the bottom of the Shenu is a basket without a handle. The basket without the handle is translated as Neb. Therefore, the accepted translation would be Ra for the solar disk, Ma'at, and Neb. We read all of these together as Neb Ma'at Ra. Loosely translated, it says Lord Ma'at Ra. Neb representing the word Lord. Ra is written first because it is given honorific position in all sacred writing. The first symbol in the Shenu is the reed leaf, which has the transliteration as a or I. An African game board. This game board is identified as the game Senet. It is pronounced men. And a ripple of water. A ripple of water is translated as the letter N. Together, these three are read Amen. The center symbol is an altar with a piece of red. From right to left, we have the crook and the scepter. This scepter is also adorned with the ostrich plume feather. The reed is again translated A or I. The game board is translated as MN, and the water ripple is translated as N. Altogether, we get Amen. The altar is transliterated as Hotep or Hetep. The crook, a royal symbol, is translated Hek. The was symbol with the ostrich feather, another royal symbol, is transliterated Ust or Wast. A possible translation of this Nasudbiti name is Amen Hotep Hek West. The Greek-speaking people translated this as Amenophis. In their story, he is identified as King Amenophis III of the 18th dynasty, again from 1555 to 1340 BCE was the entire dynasty. In our story, he is Nasubiti Neb Ma'at Ra Hotep Hek Erst. Another set of sacred symbols is written in front of the Shenu. We can read the sacred symbols for nature, and to its left is a heart and windpipe, or trachea. The middle sacred symbol is a basket. Again, the same basket we saw earlier. And it is translated as NB, pronounced Neb, representing again the idea of Lord. Then we have an I and a loaf of bread that is transliterated as IRT, pronounced IRT. Again, the loaf of bread has the quality of the T sound, always. Next, we have what's identified as a placenta, and again, a loaf of bread. The placenta is transliterated as KHT, pronounced ket. The loaf of bread is T and is identified as a phonetic complement to emphasize the fact that the word ends in a T. A complete transliteration would give us Netjer Nefer, Neb Irt Ket. Therefore, his Nesut Biti title is represented by these sacred symbols. Netjer Nefer is beautiful God. Neb, Lord. Irt could be translated as who sees, and placenta, I'm suggesting it represents life. To the left of the two Shenus representing the name of the Nesut Biti, we see the following sacred symbols. There's the conical loaf of bread, the ankh, the solar disk, and a milk jug as carried in a net. These four sacred symbols, the ankh, the solar disk Ra, and the milk jug carried in a net, are translated and transliterated as we can see. Ankh is always Ankh, Ra is always Ra. So the specific loaf of bread, this specific loaf of bread is transliterated DI, which suggests to give or to offer. And the milk jug is transliterated MI and translated as me. In English, it's referred to as like. Ankh and Ra are proper nouns. So we can offer the following translation: offering or giving everlasting life like Ra. To the right of Queen Mother's Shenu, uh, we see the Nasut plant, followed by the Egyptian vulture and a loaf of bread. Her title is represented by these sacred symbols: the Nasut plant, which signifies rulership, particularly of the Upper Nile Valley. Again, we see the African vulture and the loaf of bread. Together, these signify and translate to MUT, which is pronounced Mut, and it represents motherhood. Nasut Mut, or Queen Mother. To the left of the Shenu representing the Queen Mother's name, Mut Uya, we see the following two symbols. The key of life and the pestle. The key is always transliterated using ANKH and translated as Ankh, pronounced Ankh. The pestle is transliterated as TI, pronounced T. When you look up Ankh T, this combination of symbols in Gardner's dictionary or Egyptian dictionary, it's translated as may he have everlasting life. A full reading would give us, reading from right to left, Netya Nefer Neb Irt Kert Neb Ma'at Ra Amen Hotep Hek West Di Ankh Mira Nesut Mut Mut Ui Ankh Ti. There are many other sacred symbols in this picture which we may examine at a later time. We can review this lesson or move on to lesson 2. Shem Hotep.